Hello, class, and welcome to today's lesson on ancient Greek drama. Today, we will be speaking about Antigone, a play and drama written in 441 BC by a well-known Greek dramatist by the name of Sophocles. Sophocles was born in 496 BC and was known to be one of the most famous and celebrated writers of tragedy plays in ancient Greece. Over his lifespan of about 90 years, Sophocles wrote many dramas along with poetry. His dramas, in fact, changed the spectrum, including a well-thought-out and explained third character. Of these many dramas that Sophocles wrote, about 7 were preserved in their entirety and recorded in history as some of the greatest Greek dramas to have ever emerged from this historic period in time. Of these 7, some of his classics include Oedipus the King, Antigone, as well as The Women of Trachis. I would first like to introduce you guys to the characters in this drama. Antigone is the main character in this drama. She is known for her constant bravery, her courage, and her loyalty to her family. Ismene is the sister of Antigone. She's also brave, yet she plays by the rules. The next character we will discuss is King Creon. He is both Antigone's and Ismene's uncle. He's known to be a man who lacks compassion, a man who is so powerful he puts his power before his family, a man who is very cruel. The scene that leads up to Antigone, her punishment, her death eventually, is that Antigone's father had died. Both of his sons, Antigone's brothers, fought in a war. They both ended up dying in this war, causing the uncle Creon to end up bringing such punishment to Polynices, Antigone's brother. Creon believed that Polynices was a traitor. He believed that Polynices should never get a proper burial. The king, Creon, Antigone's uncle, decreed that anyone whosoever would touch Polynices' body and give him a proper burial would be put to death. Antigone has been so outraged by the fact that her own uncle would allow such thing to happen, using his power in such a negative way. She takes this into her own hands and decides her own fate. Antigone goes to consult her sister about what they should do, believing that she should give her brother the proper burial that he deserves, not to be left out to rot and for the animals to eat. Ismene doesn't think it's such a good idea because they can be put to death, yet Antigone does it anyways. Eventually, Antigone gets caught, yet she doesn't deny the fact that she buried her brother. Her loyalty to her brother was greater than her fear of dying, her fear or his sacrifice to her family. Ismene then comes out and says how she wants to die. Because she says this, the king then thinks that Ismene had a part in what was going on. Yet Antigone says, no, she doesn't. This won't lessen my death. This won't lessen anything that has gone on. She actually did not have a part. It was me. Antigone then confirms that her brother Polynices' burial was because of her. She didn't care at the fact that she would be put to death. Then Creon decides to send both sisters away and lock them up. While being locked up, then we realize and find out that Antigone actually kills herself. She commits some sort of suicide that is honored in the fact that she was almost heroic. Her bravery didn't allow her to step down from what the king said. Her loyalty to her family meant so much more to her than what the king thought, what the king said, whether she was going to die or not. She essentially put her life on the line for the loyalty to her family, most importantly, her loyalty to her brother. That was a lot of information for you guys to retain. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Professor, I have a question. Which moments, scenes, and or ideas in this work contributed to your understanding of the culture, values, and society in which it was produced?
This drama gave me a better understanding of how society back in that time work. Oftentimes, people were afraid of what the government was to say or what the government would do if they essentially rebelled against the government. Most of the time, people didn't take a stand for what they believed was wrong. Oftentimes, they believed that they had to stay shut, that the government was always right. But in certain times, people stood up. Oftentimes, these people were ostracized, they were cast out, they were even killed. So, for Antigone to stand up to her own uncle, the very one who was in power over the nation, she showed great courage, great loyalty to her own brother, to her family, that no matter what, if you believe something is wrong, you stand up to it, whether it means your life.
Which moments, scenes, and/or ideas in this work contributed to your understanding of your own culture and the values of your society?
My opinion may differ from other people's opinions, but I do believe that rules are set in place in the government or within the government to help protect the people. But sometimes I feel as though the government is not always truthful with the people, so it's okay to say no. It's okay to stand up for what is wrong and say, speak out about what is right. It's okay to be different, yet be honoring in the same sense, where you don't disrespect someone, yet you bring light to your situation, bring light to your perspective, allowing others to understand, whether they want to understand or not. This is just a prime example of what's been going on in our country with religion, with culture, with different people. I'd certainly recommend this drama. I recommend it for the simple fact that it's a piece that shows us how government, in fact, worked. Even though it's a fictional piece, it gives us an idea of how the government was almost corrupt, and it shows us how people handled their situations. This piece allowed us to see how someone stood up to the government, how someone in the eyes of the government was rebellious, but in the eyes of the people was one of the most loyal people they've known, one of the most courageous and brave people. So I definitely recommend this piece of work. I definitely recommend that people also do their research, that they also understand the writing and the time era that it was written, as well as the background of the author who wrote it.